Boom. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, June 13th. I happen to know it's June 13th, very top of mind because it is my birthday. For anybody that's wondering how old I am 59. So next year will be the big 6-0. And I do not feel old. I don't know. Is it a thing where Sean 60 is like the new 40? Is that like really a thing?
Dude, last week, no joke, Nicole asked me if you were in your late 40s.
Yeah.
She's like, how old is
Go.
Dave? Like late 40s? I was like, I honestly don't know how old Dave is.
Well, that made my day. Tell Nicole, thank you for that.
I will.
And I do. Growing up when you were younger, you always thought like 59, 60-year-old people, how old that is. And man, I just don't feel it. I don't see it. And hopefully hopefully I can keep this attitude my whole life.
Dude, I think it's a testament to how you have lived your life and how you, like, it's your birthday. Tons of people take their birthday off, but you are so dedicated to this community and what you do and the passion you have for it. I think that is a big part of why some people that don't do what they love might look older because they're just not enjoying life as much. And I think you just kill it every day. Happy birthday, my man.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I think it is a testament to having a purpose beyond money. And I think always the best salespeople, they don't look at families and see a commission check on their forehead. They truly want to create value for people. And I have always lived my life where, no matter what job I had, it was like, how do I create value, and how do I wow people? I mean, I truly get energy that when people are like, oh my God, I never thought of that. And I'm like, boom. Like that's what I'm here to do.
Oh,
and and so this challenge that we're kicking off, it's called the Speed to Need Challenge. It really is the key to being a mortgage professional of the future, but it's the key to being a mortgage professional. It's just delivering obvious value to every consumer you sell to. I loved in our last call, you go, I'm not in sales, I'm in service. So Sean, why don't I want to both kind of describe what this speed to need challenge is. So I've got like my way of doing it, but you were on the last call, you've been doing some homework. How do you see this? And why did you come back for a second time? And why are you excited about launching this with me to the industry?
I think the timing for this was really good for me because so this is the little box I sit in by myself most of the time, or a van, right? So I really don't have a lot of view into what the outside world is. And I like it that way because I don't like people saying, like, I forget where this came from. It's like, I don't want to know the odds, right? So when everyone's talking about how the industry's down and this and that, I don't hear those things because I'm sheltered from it. And going to Mastermind, it was eye-opening for me to see, people are down, they're scared, business is off, rates aren't coming down. What do we do? And I see so much opportunity in a market like that and others don't. And so when we did the call last week and you said you want to do the speed to need, and you said the challenge to the group, immediately I was like, I'm in, right? And that Friday, I was going to a concert Saturday in Vegas, flew home Sunday, was at a military nonprofit golf tournament all day yesterday. I still got my 6 done, right? And so what I love about the speed to need is you can reuse these. Like I didn't create these just for this call. I didn't create these for a one-off client. These are solutions that will apply to many. And that's what we need to be doing, is creating solutions for people and helping them see the opportunity that exists right now and helping them overcome their fear. Because that's really what this comes down to, is everyone is scared to do something because they're either being told they shouldn't by someone else, which you can go anywhere and no one's ever going to say right now it's a good time to buy a house. And in 2020 and 2021, no one was saying it was a good time to buy a house. So when is it a good time? And it's our job, our responsibility to show people if it is the right time for them or not, right? You may do a TCA and show someone why this it's not good timing for you, right? But you're providing advice and solutions, and they're making data-driven decisions instead of emotional decisions.
I love that. Guys, Jeremy Forcier is coming in. He, again, overcoming adversity. Jeremy's power is out. His internet is out. He sent that text a few minutes ago and he goes, hang tight.
I did.
While I troubleshoot. Sure did. And I had no doubt you'd figure it out, brother.
Living in the country, it's new to me. A year in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Guys, when Jeremy says living in the country, he's living in paradise in the wine country, about 5 minutes from a loaf of bread. Let's not feel too sorry for him, or maybe 8 minutes. Hey, so one of the things we usually do before we go live is we take this picture with the scroll stopping image. So I wanted to wait until we got Jeremy Forcier, and Jeremy, do something fun with your face and your hands so we have a scroll stopping image on YouTube.
All good, guys.
All right.
That's what
So
the
that's
kids
how
do,
that's
right?
how it's done, guys. You want to create content that gets distribution, gets scale. Make sure that when you post it on social media, it's got a scroll stopping image. So you got to see a little bit of how the sausage is made just now. Thank you for all the hearts. So let's really kick this off, guys. It's mortgage war out there right now. Like this is a time to battle. I think it's cliche at this point to say it's a market share market. But it is not cliche to say that this is a time to take what you do for a living very seriously. This is not a time for amateurs. This is a time for pros, and this is a time for innovators. And to me, innovators are showing people something new. You know, here's the deal. Most realtors still don't know what a MortgageCoach total cost analysis is. Most realtors don't know that there are loan officers, well, not loan officers, mortgage advisors like Sean and Jeremy that go beyond the transaction. They help families get clarity around, should they buy now or should they wait? So this speed to need challenge is all about going beyond speed to lead. Like speed to lead is still important. It's just that there's something beyond that. It's not enough. And it's not just this year, for this entire decade, and probably for the future of lending, that if you want to just be a loan app taker, guys, AI is going to take you out. The machine is going to be able to automate and do loans for people that just sell transactions. If you want to be relevant this decade, you need to be the first one to understand the needs of the consumer. And then you need to be able to communicate the strategies and solutions better than everyone else in the business. So Jeremy, you watched the interview that I did with Sean on Friday, and you were game for being on this call. What were your takeaways? What were your thoughts? And then I thought we'll spend the rest of this call, you and I interviewing Sean around speed to need. And then of course, you sharing any ideas you have. What do you say, bro? You're on mute.
I was
First
doing the
time?
scroll thing. Yeah, I was waiting for the photo. First of all, happy birthday, big dog. One of my best friends and mentors all time. Love you so
Thank you,
much,
brother.
man.
Boom.
And I didn't just watch it. I watched it 3 times. Well, I watched it once and listened to it twice. And so I don't do that very often. Sean crushed it. And here's what
Thank you.
what I love about Sean. Sean knows this, maybe you guys don't, but I have a man crush on Sean. I have for a long time. He's just so awesome. So here are some of my takeaways, rapid fire, and we can dig into wherever Sean wants to go with this today. But number one, I love that you said, Sean, hey, I can tell you guys all this stuff to do, but you have to do it yourself. You have to make your own stuff. I almost said it. I almost said it. You got to make your own stuff. You have to have your own thoughts. You have to, like, if you're just saying, oh, I'm going to do exactly what Sean did, his goals, I'm just going to use those 6 things. It's not going to work the same way because those aren't your things. If it's not your things, you don't own them. If you don't own them, you cannot execute them. If you can't execute them, you're just another talking head that's a babbling fool. And like, I loved that so much. I loved it so much because it also made me rethink how I train individuals, right, that work for me. And I'm like, wait a second, like, okay, of course I can tell them what I do, but it's really them exploring what they need to communicate, right, about themselves. So that was a huge takeaway for me right there. Number 2 was I love that when they talked about batch content, Sean, and you're like, I don't do that anymore. It's unauthentic. But once again, I want you guys all to hear what he said. He did it before. Like, so I did batch content for a whole year and I hated it. Okay. And I promised myself that I would try the social media thing because I hated it. And someone challenged me and said, I dare you to do 1 a day for a year. And I was like, ugh. And I did, but I cheated I shouldn't say cheating. And this isn't knocking anyone who batches, by the way. If that works for you, because that's your truth, that's awesome. And a lot of people do it really well. I didn't. Like, I hated everything I saw when I batched. I was like, what am I doing? And so when he said that, it hit home. But what I want you to take away, if you're listening to this, is that it's just being authentic. So Sean is the most authentic when he's like, ooh, need, fixed it, fulfilled need, post. Ooh, issue, fixed it, fulfill, post. Like, it was so mind-blowing and simple. And I've been trying to take that approach lately, and it reinforced that, okay, I can do this, right? It's just find a need, fulfill it, talk about it. Number 3, this was my favorite, by the way, is Sean willing to tell his clients that, no, I think you're right. He didn't say he was wrong. But like, when he was talking about a scenario, if you guys didn't watch the interview, go watch it, by the way, where his client was kind of questioning like a buy down, right? And for a lower monthly payment. And they broke it down like, well, why would I do that if I'm going to refi, if I could get slightly less maybe on the purchase price and we can afford it? But it was because he's a real advisor. He is listening to what they had said over and over and over again, that it was payment driven, payment driven, payment driven. But then when it got down to brass tacks, right, they were like, no, well, we qualify, we can afford the higher payment. It seems like it's going to cost us more if we do it this way. And he wasn't afraid to go, hey, I think you're right, although it was always about payment. So has something changed? And he didn't use those words exactly, right? But that is so powerful. And Sean, I think you did such a great job of actually articulating exactly what that looks like. You did a better job than I do. Sometimes when I do trainings and stuff, I say what you said, but I don't think everyone gets it, where they're like, I don't know how you don't get rate shopped like nearly as much as me, or this and that. And I'm like, well, it's because I'm just having a conversation and I'm not afraid to say, hey, there's not a wrong decision here, right? I say it all the time. There's not a right or wrong way to do this. It's like, this is payment, this is cost. They're kind of the same. You know, which one do you want to meet in the middle? But you did such a great job of making sure that the client was clear as to what the plan was. And if something has changed, that's awesome. And let's do it this way. That's how you build real trust. That's how you don't lose clients to another lender who maybe said, hey, I know you're talking to this guy, Sean, or whoever, Jeremy, Dave, insert loan officer name. And they steal it because they go, that doesn't make sense. That's going to cost you more. And they're right. So that gives you the opportunity to be the real. That's what an advisor is. And that's the quote that Sean used. He's like, that's what advising people is. It's literally discovery, right? Plan. And then guess what's cool? Plans can change, right? He also said, I could keep going, by the way, because I listened to it 3 times. Like, he was like, hey, 6 months ago, I was all about getting $50,000 off the price, get the buy down, and then he's like, now I'm like closing 14 days and no contingencies, and we're going to refi. It doesn't really matter what the rate ends up being because this is the strategy. Do you want the house? Right. So he's doing a really good job too, Dave, and Sean, because you're here. I hate when people do that. I like pretend you're not here. He's putting people emotionally into the house. And he didn't say that, but that was a huge takeaway for me, is that he's putting people in the house, because at the end of the day, people don't want a mortgage anyway. Like, I don't want a mortgage. I got a gigantic mortgage on this hippie compound place that I live, right? Like, I don't want it. I wish it would go away. I wish I could wake up and it was gone, right? But I want the house. I want the property. I want to have memories here. Like, I want all these other things, right, with my family. And Sean did a really good job of showing us how you put people into the house emotionally, right, without getting hyper focused on a number, because that's all a rate is a number. That's all cash to close is a number. It's really not anything more than that. So those were just a few off the top of my head that I thought were just absolutely killer, man.
Cool. Well, I want to call out a few things. And then, Jeremy, the way I'd love to run this is almost like we did Scriptapalooza, only you're playing the role of Phil Jones. So I'm going to moderate it. Sean's going to share a strategy, and then you're going to Phil Jones it. What do you like? What could be better? And then also a coach, like everyone watching this, you're coaching them, Jeremy. So a couple notes I want to make sure everybody got. First of all, write down hippie compound. That's what that is my new favorite word, Jeremy's hippie compound. By the way, can't wait to go see and hang out at your hippie compound. That was a joke, everybody. By the way, I do want you to write down, because when I think of everything Jeremy said, I think of authorship as ownership. And,
Yes.
literally his number one takeaway, authorship is ownership. Number two, when you're batching, it's taking away from your authorship around current market. Authorship is ownership. Number three, when you're servicing a customer and you're putting the customer first and you're letting the customer design their own strategy, authorship is ownership. Now, maybe we might want to throw in a word of authenticity. So authorship is authentic ownership.
It is. Always.
But you could just tie that whole thing around that. So let's get into it. And remember, you're going to be the Phil Jones doing the code red as Sean shares this. Sean, let's set it up. So first of all, did you do your homework? And if you
I did my homework.
Describe what you did.
I did. So again, the reason I said a lot of what I said on Friday's call is I am sick. I was really frustrated. I am sick of us all making reasons or excuses for why we can't do things. So Dave gave me homework on Friday. I was in Vegas Saturday, Sunday for fun, had a golf tournament for a military nonprofit all day yesterday. I got my homework done, right? I didn't make an excuse of, sorry, Dave, I got all this crap to do, so I can't help you. I got it done, and it's helping all of you, and it's helping me, right? I can reuse these things. So yes, I got my homework done, and actually just pulled up an extra one to touch on what Jeremy was talking about, because just so everybody knows, Jeremy is the person who probably gave me the biggest push to become a mortgage advisor. I was a recruiter.
In Vegas, by the way.
Robert Ring was with us.
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking and he's like, you're doing it backwards. 80% of your business is recruiting, 20% is production. Flip that. He's like, and then the recruiting part's easy. And I don't even want to recruit. But the way that, and Jeremy was kind enough to show me how he uses MortgageCoach early on in that process, 2016, 17. I use it different than he does. It's just a tool, right? We can all use it different. So you can't copy the way people do things. You have a tool and you can find your own way and build your own hippie compound with it.
Perfect. So
100%.
Okay, you got 6. Let's try to, Sean, you deliver each speed to need challenge within 5 minutes. And then Jeremy, let me see, 5, 10. No, you need to do it a little less than 5. And then Jeremy, you need to give feedback on each one a little less than 5. And we'll get through 6. I also want to remind folks, if you did not watch that last 1 hour call that Jeremy watched 3 times, if you watch it, and you do the homework and you take action and you follow us for the next 30 days, this could change your career. Like, this is a career changing month for anybody that does the work and goes through the process. So what's your first speed to need challenge? And go ahead and rock it out.
I'm going audible on this one because the number one reason I hear that people don't use MortgageCoach is because they don't want to send it to a client and get shopped. You can use this to overcome shopping. So in this example, this is a VA loan. They were already qualified somewhere else. They were getting 6.5, paying like 1.5 points. I said, send me the quote. I'll build it into your buyer's guide. That's what I call these. I call these buyer's guides. I'll build it into your buyer's guide site and I'll show you the options. So you could get 6.5 with me, no points. Or if you want to pay the points, you could get 5 3/4. I love when I get shopped because I get to put it away. I lose doing this sometimes too, but most of the time I win because I'm confident in this process. But don't let getting shopped be the reason you don't want to use MortgageCoach. It's actually one of the best tools to use to overcome that, in my opinion. So that was my audible. I'll stop talking there.
Is this where I come in and give him feedback as Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I really like what you did here, Sean. First of all, I think you're brilliant. And I think that you should not be afraid of people shopping you, and no one else should be as well, because we all shop for clothes. We all like different things and we're all attracted to different styles. So bravo to you. I think it was very, very good. Here's what I like about it for real, is that's also the number one, by the way, Sean, objection I get for all my LOs, right, that work for me. They're like, man, aren't you scared to send that out like before they're in contract? Like, aren't you like, and they're just going to take it. And I'm like, Well, God, no, like not at all. It's actually the best way to prevent shopping through extreme transparency and education. So here's what I like about it. Okay. I like that. Number one, you took I want everyone to really get this, by the way, please. He took the perceived the fear, let's use that word, the fear. I'm going to send this out and someone could use it to shop me. And he literally just flipped a 180. And we have to do this in our brain, flip a 180 and go, whenever we have a fear, go, well, what if I thought the opposite of that? I ask myself this all the time. What if I thought the opposite? I'm curious. What if I thought the opposite? And he flipped it on its head, and then now it's a superpower, right? So I think he did an excellent job there. Now, what I think you could do to enhance, right, that strategy would be is to tell people that even if you are better, by the way, in a certain quote, that, hey, at the end of the day, we all should really be the same, and that's the truth. So if I'm better here, wow, that's surprising and that's excellent. But if anyone tells you that they're always going to be better than whatever it is you're getting quoted, that's a red flag and you should be very cautious of it. That's the only feedback I could really give you about that strategy, because then you're planting the seed that like, whoa, wait, he is better, but he's telling me that it's market driven. Really where we should really all be about the same on any given day, unless it's some crazy unusual circumstance of a type of loan. And that transfers even more trust. When you beat someone, but you don't vilify the competition, right? You beat someone, but you don't vilify.
And that's exactly what I do. I always say rates are a commodity. We're all trained. When you call a mortgage advisor, what are you supposed to ask? What are the rates? What are the fees? Well, rates are a commodity. Your loan is going to Ginnie Mae, whether I do it or someone else does. So we start there. And I always say you shouldn't see a lot of variability. And they're like, but Sean, you're the variable. You're actually better. Oh, well, great then. But that is, to Jeremy's point, no, most of the time when we do this, we're very close to each other. This was the anomaly.
Yes. So brother, very good. I love it. What's number two?
Hey, real quick, before we do that, I do want to call out, guys, I am building out this Google Doc called the Speed to Need Challenge Playbook. We're going to have, all of Sean's, and I'm going to try to get Jeremy within the next couple of weeks on here where he goes through his 6. And then I'm also looking to have other loan officers where we go through what are the biggest needs in this market. We have a list of them. And then we're like, what are the solutions and strategies? And we have links. Now, I'm not doing this because I want everybody to copy it. Extreme authenticity. You need to make it yours. But I am doing this because I want to create a training platform so that anyone that's watching this, if you're a branch manager, if you're like Jeremy and you're responsible for the success of other people, we've got kind of a checklist, oh, I need to make sure all my loan officers know how to get to the need of a buyer who wants to lowball a property because they want a lower monthly payment. They know how to crush that. And so we're creating this, coaching tool, this training tool so that, and is it 6 things that y'all need? Is it 10 things? So just know that will be, I'll be distributing that through my Savage Insights mobile number. So in order to get that, I'll give you the number in a few minutes. You'll have to be in this club, and I will be forwarding that out to people. And I will be driving this Speed to Need Challenge through the Savage Insights mobile club. So if you want to get a link to this document and you want to participate in this challenge, if you're already opted in, great. You're going to in the know. If you're not, you're going to need to opt in. Let's go to number 2.
All right. So number 2. So what I love about doing this with Jeremy is we think of things so similarly, because all he talked about was fear. And I think I'm not emotionally putting someone into a house. I'm trying to remove the emotion of fear and replace it with confidence. And that's what we're doing here, right? So what I did with this one is you have a client who wants to make an offer on a property and they're going to lowball it, right? It's been sitting on the market, whatever. They just want to get a deal on the house. Anything we buy in life, the price determines whether we're saving money or not. But when you're financing something to the level that you are a mortgage, anywhere from 80 to 97%, it's important to show them how that works. So this example, I had a client who wanted to really lowball a house, and he said he was going to offer $1.05 million. It was like $130,000 under the list price. And I said, okay, before you do that, let me show you a better way to use the seller's money to your advantage. I go, I'm going to encourage you to ask for a credit of $50,000 pay 50,000 more, and you'll have less out of pocket and a lower monthly payment. And so what I illustrated here is a 2-1 buy down. So we had 6.75 at $1,050,000. That was going to be his offer price. I said, offer $1,001,000. We'll use a part of that to discount your interest rate by 2% year 1, 1% year 2. You have a fixed rate, so you never have to worry about what your payment's going to be if you don't get to refinance, but odds are you won't be in this thing longer than 2 years. And your cash out of pocket will be $115,000, about, what is that, $33,000 less than if you paid $1,050,000. And every single time I do this, they go, Sean, I don't get it. I'm paying more for the house? Yes. I'm saving more monthly? Yes. And I'm coming out of pocket less? Yes. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense because you're thinking of paying cash for something at the grocery store. If you go to buy a TV at Best Buy, you should get it on sale. But getting a house on sale isn't necessarily the best way. And so what I love about this is it's a win-win for everyone. The seller's netting the same price either way. The realtors love the fact that it's selling at a higher price because that's what's going to show up on Redfin. All the neighbors are going to see that being the price, and it saves them the most money. So in this example, they're going to save $1,200 a month for the first 12 months, $600 a month for the next 12 months, 24 months. And they win. They will most likely refinance, but I like this better than adjustable rate mortgage because there's no variability of what will your payment be 13 and a half years from now. I can tell you exactly what it would be. And so this is something I use a lot when people want, I say before you lower the price. That's kind of what I call these presentations, is before you lower the price.
I love this. Gosh, I'm going to be a bad, I don't have negative things to say or things to get better. So this is money right here. Okay. So here are some takeaways that I love. Number one, what I noticed that I'm looking at, and if you could keep this up, please, that would be great.
Yeah.
So here's what I love. First takeaway, he didn't mention it at all, ever. So put yourself in the consumer position, by the way, looking at this, not a mortgage advisor position. Do you see that the loan amount's not highlighted? I just want you guys to realize this for a second. Okay. And I don't know if he did this on purpose or not, but this is a takeaway for me, is that when people are so focused on the price, the big number, oftentimes when I present as well, they're like, but the loan amount is so much higher. Like that's what they say. But when it wasn't highlighted, I noticed that my eyes didn't go to that. I had to like look at it while he was talking, because then it's easier for them to understand, right? Of like what the real savings is, because the reality is if they save 33, if they save, what was it? 30 grand, let's see, 15, they send like 17 grand out of pocket or something like that. Okay. Up front, if you add 17 to the 1050, we're already at 17. Let's just call it, okay, 20 grand, make it simple, right? We're at 1070. Okay, cool. So then where's the other 30? Well, 1257 a month. And he didn't even go in to explain that this money sits in a reserve account, right? That when they refinance, it's still theirs, which by the way, thank you. I learned that from you when buy downs were new. I was like, oh, I'm going to start selling these, right? So that's still their money that they get to use when they refi, and they can pay down the principal to exactly where they want it, which is the same as buying at $1,050,000, right? So he did a really good job here of highlighting what he wants the client to pay attention to. And we do a bad job of that sometimes. We go way too overboard on explaining and the crazy details and the intricacies of everything, rather than here's what's really, really important, which is what he did. Here's what's really, really important. And then if they ask questions, you can expand, right? So excellent, excellent, excellent job on that. I absolutely love it. Number two, where I think you could, an area of improvement on this, and this is just personal preference, would be when you have year 2 and year 3 there, you can actually mark those as a refi and take out all the closing costs, and then it doesn't show any cash to close on column number 3 and 4. Okay. And that eliminates and helps people understand more, because when they see cash to close on all of them, they're like, their brain just kind of can short circuit a little bit and get confused. They're like, so am I paying for this every single year? Like, am I like, it just can create maybe unnecessary questions. So you did a really good job of keeping it simple. It's obvious as to what the best choice is here for this individual, to how to use the money the best. And I love what you said, is that when people are financing things, they still act like they're buying it cash, right? they're not. The rules are totally different when you're leveraging money. So that was a huge takeaway for me, but that would be the only one thing I would say that I think that you could change to create even more concise clarity for someone is when you're doing this and you get to the third option, when you copy it from the second option, just copy it, then mark it as a refi. That's what I do. And then you can take out all the closing costs, and then it just shows the payment graduation rather than cash to close.
Got it. Yeah. And for me, so I go through these with everyone. So my initial conversation is the reason I highlight these things. Let me go back to that. I never highlight loan amount. So I'm obsessed with psychology, and you guys have heard me say this a million times. We do 4th grade math and psychology for a living. So we are trained, right? We have all been trained to ask, what's the rate when we get a mortgage? But if you see any car commercial, what do they show you? The payment. Right? When you go to get a car, which you're financing, they show you payment. When we go to get a house, we're supposed to ask about rate. Why are you asking about rate? Well, I want to know what the payment is. Okay, cool. Let's just get there then. So if I was doing this and I'm not comparing, a rate situation, it looks like this, right? These are the 3 key variables. This is all I highlight out of the gate. But when I'm trying to show them the benefit of the 2-year buy down, that's why I highlighted that there. And then when this will come up in a second, but when we're doing rate comparisons, as we eliminate variables, that's where we get to that. But I walk people through these. So I do a short video. Hey, here's the deal, blah, blah, blah. Like everything Jeremy just summarized is what the video would say, 1-minute video with embedded in MortgageCoach. And then we do a call to go through it in detail. Cause I promise you, they're going to be like, where's the catch? Like, how am I paying more for a house, have a lower monthly payment, and coming out of pocket 18 grand less? Sean's doing something, right? And I'm not. That's just the numbers.
Yep, 100%. So excellent job. Absolutely love it. Big takeaway there for everyone is get to the numbers first, the payment first, right? Get to the payment first, rate second, right? Get to the payment first, not even rate second. Payment, strategy, rate, right? Payment, strategy, rate. So excellent job there.
All right, guys. So we went through one, and I remember everyone following along. Where do you rate on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being I'm a badass, like I'm a ninja at the level of Sean and Jeremy. If you don't even know how to do this, you're obviously 1, 2, or 3. Where do you rate? And is this the right description? How would you describe the need that you just addressed? So we have it in the playbook, right, Sean?
The kind of catchy term I use for it is before you lower the price, because that's what everyone wants to do. Hey, Sean, we're going to make an offer and we're going to go under ask. Like, whoa. Before you lower the price, ... That's kind of how I describe it. But I don't know what whatever makes people remember it. Like, again, if all you're going to do is end this call and copy Dave's list, you're doing yourself a disservice. Do it in the way that it fits you best.
I would say payment over price is simple.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, so payment over price is a simple way to say it.
And remember, so Jeremy's got one way, Sean's got one way. What's your way? And then we're going to work on this after the call. We'll listen to the recording. We'll make sure we're creating teaching tools for you guys. And just remember, guys, if you want to be in this challenge, text 949-799-0837. You will be in the Savage Insights Mobile Club. And I will, after we get these notes updated by the end of the day, I'm going to be posting them. Also later today, we're going to be posting the Taking Action coaching notes from Scriptapalooza. So we transcribed all of Scriptapalooza. We put them into teachable content. We'll be getting that out by the end of the day as well. All right, number 3, what do we got?
All right, so we kind of went through this one on Friday, but this is a basic rent to own. What I do, again, look at what I've highlighted, kind of now that Jeremy's pointed that out, it is on, there's a reason I've highlighted these things. These are the 3 variables that come into homeownership. If you tell me 2, I can tell you the 3rd. If you tell me how much you want to put down and how much house you want to buy, I can tell you what your payment will be. If you tell me how much you have to put down and what you want your monthly payment to be, I can tell you your price, right? So that's why I highlight those 3 things. But I wanted to just come up with like a quick 10% down, make it very attainable, and compare a rent versus own. So the first thing you see is, yes, the monthly payment is higher, but I have a benefit of taxes in the state of California. I don't illustrate federal anymore because you have to itemize for that. So I'm really working from just the state of California taxes for an estimate to be conservative. If anyone's going to call me, when they file taxes and say, I don't want to, Sean, you were wrong about my tax amount. I actually have a bigger write-off than you said. Wonderful. I don't want to go in the other direction and be the bait and switch guy. And then principal, right? Their house is a forced savings account. So when you net these out, here's your net payment. You're paying $33.66 a month compared to your $35.50 in rent, $3,500 in rent plus $50 in renters insurance. The most compelling thing that I show renters is the short-term analysis. I always do 3 years. Again, psychology, if you tell me to look 5 years out, I don't know what 5 years looks like, but I have a pretty good idea what the next 3 years look like. So if I click more info, I can see the breakdown, right? So in just 3 years, you'll have paid $135,000 in rent. People don't think of it that way. They just think of their monthly, right? But if you bought this house, you paid 151, but after your principal reduction, using your house as a forced savings account and the tax benefit you get in the great state of California, you paid 120,000. The most compelling thing is in just 3 years, if the home appreciates at 5% a year, which is already starting to happen again, you're going to have $150,000 in equity in your property and you'll have zero in rent. And what we do as humans is we don't say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for how much money I'm going to have 3 years from now. We always go to the negative. We go, I should have done this sooner. I can't believe I threw away $150,000 by not buying sooner. And think about how many people right now are going, I can't believe rates are in the high sixes-ish range and values are going up. Like, I totally screwed myself by not buying sooner, right? That's emotionally what we do. We look backwards. So this to me is the most compelling screen you can show I'm not selling anyone anything. The numbers speak for themselves. If you do this using a really conservative appreciation value, you put up 60,000 and now you have 150. So that's how I use my rent versus owns.
Freaking money. So this was also, by the way, one of my huge takeaways, Sean and Dave and everyone listening from your Friday call was the California tax rate, right? I'm using the California tax rate. So that's why I texted you, by the way, or called you, I should say. I wanted you to teach me how to just do that portion, but I figured it out because I'd make no excuses either. And I know you're busy. And I Googled California tax rate and looked it all up and figured out that it's like 11.3% if they're in a 25% tax bracket, basically, instead of 25% plus the state. So you guys, there are tools at your fingertips. When someone says something, don't rely on everyone just to do it for you. That's a separate takeaway. Okay. He gave me some great information in that call on Friday. And I was like, oh, because I get that question all the time. I stopped kind of showing tax benefits. I was like, man, this isn't even real anymore where I live. I don't know what it is. And I was able to do that because of you. So thank you. And figure that out yesterday in a presentation. So what he said, though, that I don't want you to miss that you did so well, Sean, is once again, he emotionally put someone, psychology, right? He said 4th grade math, psychology, right? So psychologically, he emotionally put someone in without being manipulative, by the way, right? Into the future, right? Into the future. He put them into the future of this is what it looks like over 3 years. And I love that. And that's something I changed as well because of your call was so damn good, by the way, on Friday. I just got to keep saying it. So yesterday I changed my short term to 3 years because of Sean, right? I was like, oh crap, I'm always doing 5, 5 years seems like a really long time away, even though it's not. 3 years, man, seems like, oh yeah, that's like tomorrow. And so it puts people into the future, but not way out, right? That's unobtainable. That's not something that they can achieve. So excellent job on that. One area that I think we could all improve on is if you could X out of this view and just go back to the original summary. There we go. Okay. So is when we talk about principal paid as a forced savings account, Sean, something that I've changed with the verbiage of that is that, hey, it's a forced saving account, but not like a savings account. And they always say, what do you mean by that? And I go, it's more of like a 401k. Okay. So think about your 401k if you have one, or an IRA. It's a retirement fund rather than a savings account, because a savings account, you can just take your money out, right? And you don't pay any interest. But a 401k and an IRA and retirement accounts, those are to build wealth long term. And if you want to take it out early, you have to borrow from it, right? This works exactly the same way, but it is forced savings and it is forced wealth creation. It is forced insert word, right? So making people understand that this is what helps you create wealth, and it works just like a 401k or a retirement fund, because first of all, it's tax deductible. As we can see, it's tax deductible already, right? And we're just automatically doing it, comes right out of our paycheck, AKA our monthly payment. And that's what sets us up for retirement and future wealth. So that would be the only feedback I could give, to just put a little spin, and I'm grasping for straws here. Okay.
Dude, that's
to
brilliant.
make it like just a, yeah.
No. Because if everyone says to retire, you need to own a house, free and clears, it is a retirement account. Like, that's absolutely brilliant.
It is. Yeah. So that's what I have changed in the past year: retirement account, 401k, and people can grasp that a little bit more.
So Sean, stop sharing the screen real quick. I want to share two things. So I want everybody to write down: sell financial freedom with real estate.
Yeah.
Like, stop selling loans, start selling financial freedom with real estate. And that, that's what Jeremy called out. Like, he's selling the long-term value of this. And so far we've shared tactics and strategies to get to the speed of a need for a consumer to help them buy a house in this market. Super important, guys. And in future trainings that we do on this, it's like, now how do we turn this into value with realtors? How do we recruit realtors with these strategies? So I interviewed Shay Jenkins a few weeks ago. Shay is in Denver, Colorado. Last year was her second full-time year as a loan officer. She was an assistant for a few years before that, but last year was her second full-time year. This is her third. She did like 53 million. And I interviewed her. I want to play a little 1-minute highlight from that, because it will really exemplify what you can do with what Sean just did. Imagine if you CC'd your realtor, check out what Shay did.
I was going after this huge, one of the top agents in Denver. And I had been trying since I was an assistant, I had been trying to get this person. And finally the poor girl gave me a break and was like, Lord, like, here you go, take this one lead. And I took the lead and I did a mortgage coach. And I was just like, you know what, why not? I'm going to CC the agent on here. And then that's when the agent picked up the call and she's like, are you serious? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, what, mortgage coach? And I was like, you're the top agent. You've never seen this before? And she's like, absolutely not. She's like, this is amazing. She's like, would you be able to do this with all my buyers? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's so cool. And again, in her head, I think she was thinking, I'm up all night creating this massive presentation with all these numbers and graphs. And I got her business and she's one of my top agents now.
Boom, guys. So remember, what you're doing is a wow for the consumer. And if you play this right, you CC the agent, there's probably some words that you use with the agent, you're getting market share. You're getting agents. Like, if you can be a leader at speed to need at a level of excellence, deliver this to the consumer, you're not only going to have higher conversion, you're not only going to be more valuable. By the way, you're going to like your job better because you're going to be creating more value. Like, mortgage business is fun for Sean and Jeremy because they're not selling loans. They're selling financial freedom with real estate. Jeremy, do you happen to know Shay by any chance, by the way?
I don't, but I would like to know her.
Yeah. Wasn't that cool?
Yeah, that was wicked cool. And I think if you're familiar with me on this channel, I have CC'd the realtor on every single mortgage coach, trust engine, total cost analysis for almost a decade. Like every single time, whether they work with me consistently or I have no idea who they are and they're just introduced to me by a buyer and they're working with this person. So don't ever underestimate the power of what you think is normal, because it's not normal. It's not normal at all. And when people are also getting quotes and quote unquote shopping, maybe you're a second look lender, right? That happens to me all the time, right? Lead, but it's really a second look. They're already pre-approved, et cetera. Like, I always ask them like, hey, you know, if you could do me a huge favor and send me over a copy of the total cost analysis that they sent you with the video, I would love to take a look at it. So lead with that. When you are the second look and someone's shopping, or your realtor's trying to get you a chance and at bat with someone who's already pre-approved, don't lead with, well, hey, tell me what you got. Can you send over, you know, the disclosure or the paperwork they sent you? Say, can you please send me over a copy of their total cost analysis with a video so I can take a look and listen to it? Changes the conversation completely. So excellent, excellent. Love it.
Ninja move by Jeremy Forcier. Number 4, Sean.
And I also, every single realtor gets a copy of it as well. It's just, it's a disservice not to do that. Okay, number 4. So this one's going to be like more of a varsity play on the rate comparison. So again, what does every buyer tell us? They want the lowest rate. Why do they want the lowest rate? They want the lowest payment. So this buyer said, Sean, I have $453,000 to use for closing, but I want my monthly payment as low as possible. So should I put more money down? Or no, that's where they always start. I'll just put more money down to get there. It's like, that's one way to do it. You could also get more bang for your buck using discount points. There's pros and cons to both. So let me show you how it works. So what I did here is here's how you get to your ideal monthly payment by down payment. And here's how you get there by discount points to discount the rate below market. And then I spoke to him. I was like, you know what? I got a better idea. I'm just going to show you a range of rate options and we'll find the happy medium between down payment and rate, right? So I started off at 6.75. His cash to close is 450. 6.49 cash to close is 450. 6.25 cash to close is 450. 5.99 450, right? So I kept his 453 in mind. And then what I do when I do these is I don't have to tell you which one's the right option. Like Jeremy said earlier, there isn't a right choice. It is what is right for you, right? But for me, this pops out right in front of me. Savings over the first 3 years, because again, odds are he won't have this mortgage for 3 years. So let's be conscientious. If you are going to pay discount points to discount your rate below market, I don't want you to spend money unnecessarily, but 6.25 will save you true net savings of $6,411 compared to all the other options. So if you wanted to pick a rate from a data perspective of where is my true net savings, I would say go with 6.25. At the same time, I would encourage him to say 6.75 because I think he's going to refi. I don't want him to pay discount points if he doesn't need to. But by doing this, I'm not even giving him my opinion or my advice. I'm letting the data speak to which rate is best. And most people are shocked when I tell them that I'm going to let you choose your interest rate. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't understand why lenders assign interest rates. You shouldn't call me and I tell you, here's my rate, and you call someone else and that's not, it's not how it works. It's just easier to do that. It doesn't mean it's the right thing to do for you.
Okay. This one, I have anything could be done better. Just say no, let's get that out of the way. So there's this is just this is the shiz nizzle biz fam flip flam wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. So here's what I love about this so much. Okay, there's ketchup, there's mustard, there's sauerkraut, there's grilled onions and jalapenos. It is incredible. And the reason I say that is it's all based around a hot dog, and the hot dog is the cash to close. It's all the same. Okay, it's the constant. It's like literally within like a few $100s, right? It's 450 grand, period, right? On every single one of them. This is how you really show as an expert and taking the fee part out of the equation is including all the fees in the closing cost to show net simply. Okay, this is ninja. He said varsity. This is like all-star. Okay, pro baseball player, pro lacrosse player, pro synchronized swimmer, whatever sport you like. This is the highest Olympic level right here, right? But I don't want you to miss it because it's as simple as in the total cost analysis, just hitting the button that includes it in the loan amount. Okay, so it makes all the cash to close the same. this is the coolest example I've seen in a long time. I'm going to copy this because I do this sometimes. I do this when people are having a hard time they're getting frustrated on what should I pick. Because sometimes when we give too many options, or I should say, I'm gonna use myself. When I give too many options sometimes, and then it has like a different rate, different cash to close, and then the benefit over time. Some people go into analysis paralysis, right? They're like really trying to figure it out. No matter what I say, I'm like, hey, this is the obvious choice to me, but there's no right or wrong reason. They can't process it. If you create a constant, always like Sean did here, with the cash to close being the same, they're going to ask you this amazing question. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. They'll go through it all and they might ask you, well, what would you do? Did they ever ask you that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what I would ask you as a consumer looking at this. I'd go, well, crap, the cash out of pocket's the same. The payment's different. My brain wants to say 5.99, but if the cash to close is the same, what's the real difference? What would you do, Sean? And then that's when you have maximum influence. When anyone ever asks you, what would you do? Or what's your opinion? Like I have a guy, Charles D right now. I won't say his last name is a client, right? And he's a super high earner, buying before he sells, attorney. But when we were going through this stuff, here's what he said after I presented information similar to this. He was like, hey, you know what? You're the financial professional, honestly. Like, what would you do? And I know I have maximum influence when they ask that question. But the easiest way to have maximum influence is to make a constant. And the constant here is the cash to close. I don't want anyone to miss that. Excellent job.
Well, the constant, and again, so Dave keeps saying we should be selling this, or instead we should be selling that. I don't think we should be selling anything. We're providers. Jeremy and I provide things. We provide solutions to clients. That's what we do. We don't sell them anything. I'm not selling them a rate. I'm not selling them a down payment. He told me, Sean, I have $453,000 to use for my down payment. How do I get the lowest monthly payment? Great question. I don't know. Let me plug it in and we'll figure it out together.
Right. Love it. I mean, just absolutely excellent. So I want to answer a question here in the chat real quick and we'll move on. It was, hey, does everyone use the video option on this every time? Yes. Like 100%. I've said this 500 times on interviews over the last 10 years with Dave. The only time that I really don't put a video on anything is if I'm super buzzed. Like I'm at home and I'm like, I know I'm buzzed. Like I'm like, you know, I'm partying and I'm still doing one. And I'm like, I shouldn't do a video right here. Right. Like that's kind of the only time. Or if I'm on an airplane because it won't refresh, the upload speed, right? Like doesn't work. Those are the only two times that I don't use a video. So Sean, you use a video every time, I assume.
Yep. And yeah, absolutely. And it's gotten so easy. It's easier to make one than to not make one at this point.
I agree.
It's so easy. And I do the same thing as Jeremy. If it's Friday night and somebody needs something right away and I turn on my camera, I'm like, those eyes look a little glossy. No video today.
Yes. Yeah. Or you can just do an audio. Like you can just do no video, audio only. I'll do that. Right. But I will listen to it if I've been having fun, just in case.
So a couple notes, guys. I made a speed to lead challenge playlist. So last week's video, this week's video, any of the content we're creating around this speed to lead challenge, we'll have this playlist. I'm also going to have our marketing team break these down into individual classes. So each one of the 6 that Sean does will be a video. So you want to just focus on one speed to need. We're creating content around this. Also, I want to call out on the video. You notice these guys are using our built-in video platform because it's easier to do it than not do it. And they're getting the alert when someone watches it in one platform. So nothing against people that use BombBomb or other videos. And sometimes you want to pull out that golf club and do like that BombBomb video. But guys, every time if you want to help consumers, you want to be speed to need, you ask great questions, you deliver solutions, you put a video on it, you crush it. So Sean, we only got 5 minutes left. Jeremy, do you have a hard stop? You got to jump on another meeting. Can we go 5 over?
I did, but I don't now because I've had no water or anything all morning trying to figure out why my well's not working and I'm waiting for a plumber. So I'm here as long as you need me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to go about 5 minutes over. By the way, guys, if you're getting value from this, give us a little reaction just so we see what the audience is getting. Give us a little heart, clap, whatever you're getting from this. Also, remember, share this with your team. Like, we want to create as much value for the entire Trust Engine Mortgage Coach community as possible. So if you're a manager, make sure your whole team goes through this. Jeremy, did you share this with all the loan officers you serve?
I did. So I have a coffee talk, it's called, with Jeremy for all my salespeople every single week. So 50 loan officers are on every other Tuesday at 9. And today I sent an email earlier this morning. It was like, coffee talk today is to register here, and this is what you guys need to watch. So yes,
Right.
everyone, 100%.
Yeah. My little coaching group, I said today's coaching call at 9 o'clock, register for this instead.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, Jeremy, I realize I'm going to have to leave pretty close to on time. So I want to make
That's
sure we
okay.
get through all 6, but I'm going to have you kind of close it out. I'm going to leave.
We'll get
after
through
this
all
next
6
one.
and I'll wrap it up. You got it.
And go as long as you want.
fast.
But
We'll
go
move
ahead,
fast
Sean.
from here. All right, let's see the next one. Okay, so this one is newer because of all the FHA changes and then the LLPA changes we've seen. So I am not normally a huge fan of telling people to use FHA. I tried to avoid it because the mortgage insurance is permanent. But since we know that everyone is basically going to end up refinancing, it's a safer bet because we can get them into a conventional loan at some point. But what I've been doing for this one, so this was I need the lowest payment and down payment scenario, first time buyer. I would normally lean towards a 3% down conventional loan. And this is the one to send to the realtor. And if you make an offer with this type of loan, the video should speak to the listing agent. Because they always say, why are you going FHA? Right. And so the video would go something like this. Hey, listing agent, we just had a client make an offer on 123 Main Street. We are doing a low down payment. We are offering with FHA, but we're doing it because it is far more advantageous to the buyer. With the changes that we've seen, it has a lower interest rate and the mortgage insurance premiums lower. They're going to save about $350 a month. So it makes all the sense in the world to them. They qualify conventional, but this is just a better option for them. And that's why we're using it. And I'd say thank you and all that, but that's basically how that video would go.
I love it.
But
I love
right,
it.
we want to show people, again, I want FHA. Why? Let's make sure you want FHA. Let's compare the two and see which one's better for you. In this case, assuming they have an extra $9,000, FHA wins. If they don't, then 3% down conventional wins.
Yep. It's money. So once again, takeaways here, guys. Number one, when someone asks for something, always show them a different option, even if what they're asking for is the right option. Okay. So people call me all the time, same thing. Hey, we're a first time home buyer. We're thinking FHA because that's what they heard. That's what they read. Now FHA is the right choice here, right? If they have the cash to close, but you show the option. Number two, big takeaway, listing agent focused. And this is something where I'm going to add a little extra on too, where it's not a criticism, because I guarantee you that Sean does this anyway. He's just going through quickly here, is that what I love to do in my videos or text or calls, and I do all three, by the way, to the listing agent, if the realtors actually freaking listen to me, if you're a realtor listening to this, give us the contact info in advance. Please don't wait until 10 seconds before you submit an offer. You lose all leverage. Big takeaway from Sean's call on Friday as well. Give Sean the credit for that, okay? Get in front of it with the listing agent. So the thing I would highlight, right, is that, hey, this to the listing agent, context, right, is that, hey, they're qualified for conventional. FHA is better from a payment perspective, but I also want to let you know that we can still close this loan in insert your date, same as conventional. We don't have any other requirements from an appraisal standpoint outside of conventional. Like, you need to make sure that you are squashing that bug that FHA is going to be a problem. And you can do that in the video. So if you can eliminate friction or perceived friction and show that it's a benefit and you're putting your name and stamp to it, home run.
I got to add something, and my meeting canceled so I can stay on this, but Sean, stop sharing real quick. Guys, write this down. This is not a new phrase. Jeremy lives his life like this. Sean lives his life like this, but good is the biggest enemy of great. And what
100%.
Jeremy just said, even if they don't need an option, you always give them an option, because you know what? Jeremy lives by, like, not good. Great. I got to go beyond good. Average loan officers, worksheet loan officers, they're serving at a minimum criteria. Oh, I got to give them the rate. I got to give them the payment. I got to give them the cash to close, playing the transaction game. Guys, this is not the decade to play the transaction game. This is the market, and it will be the market for this entire decade, where you go beyond good, you go beyond what's just enough, and you give family options. And you show them the cost over time, uncommon level of transparency, and you show them strategies to build wealth and financial freedom with real estate. Guys, that's like good is a fee worksheet, and being a transactional oriented loan officer, great is going beyond that. So I just want to put that in a frame, and hopefully no one missed that call out. Always show options. Maybe it's down payment options, maybe it's interest rate options, but in this case, it's FHA versus conventional options. Number 6, Sean.
All right, we're going to go to refi land, because this has been a project of mine, and Dave challenging me forced me to start playing with this. So it is not perfect yet. But I took a current client I'm helping, and the amount of debt they're carrying, it just gives me so much anxiety. Student loans, auto loans, trailers, credit cards, furniture, everything, right? So what we all get stuck on is this low interest rate. So they're sitting at 3.25 currently on their current home. And I was like, how do we get them into a better situation? So if they refinance, they would be roughly 6.875, but their total monthly payment would go down to $10,000. That saves them $3,200 a month. So as much as we're stuck on the interest rate we're carrying on our home, we're forgetting what the interest rates are on our auto loans, our credit cards, student loans. I can't even stand. I didn't even include those in this. But I wanted to try and figure out a compelling way to do that. And what I did here is I did not use the debt consolidation tool that's built into MortgageCoach. I did one with that. I couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do, so I went another way. But basically, what I did here is I just built in, where is it?
Monthly debts. I see it.
See it in front of me? Oh, here it is.
Yeah, right
monthly
there.
debts. So this is their other debts, right? And then their closing costs, I built in debt payoff, right? So we're going to pay all this off through closing. And I need to move this around so I can get my button. And that's going to save you $3,200 a month. This doesn't look good, right? The savings over 5 years saying this refinance is going to cost them $136,000. That's not true, because the way I did this isn't taking into consideration the amount of interest they're paying on the other loans. But when I was playing with the debt consolidation tool, it wasn't working either. So I have more work to do on this, but I wanted to do something outside of the purchase market, because I think there is such a huge opportunity to help people consolidate debt and get closer to financial freedom. But we got to get them to break their same habit at the same time.
Love it. Awesome. So here's what I love about this is number one, Sean is very creative. And Sean, as he said before, was in Vegas. Then he was at a golf tournament, and he made no excuses for doing all the homework. He just flat out gets it done. So with this scenario, what matters to this person most? Why is Sean concerned? Because Sean is an advisor and he cares about the choices they make and how it impacts their future. What's the issue is cash flow, period. Right? So if you can show people what the issue is, because here's what the consumer thinks. They're like, oh, the debt's killing me. They just say emotional statements, right? Oh, we don't want to get rid of 3.25, but our debt's killing us. Right? Like that's what they say. That's all emotional based. Well, he took the emotional fear part once again out of it and made it really clear with 4th grade math. Hey, here's the thing. What if I told you that if you paid 10, this is a script, by the way, Scriptapalooza part 3. So this is a script I use a lot, is that I say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, like if I told you that I would give you a 20% interest rate, but your payments would only be $100 a month, would you do it? And they always go, yeah. And I go, okay, great. Well, that's what I'm telling you here. So you're giving up 3.25%, but you're saving $3,200 a month. It's the same thing, right? You're lowering your overall monthly payments. And that's what your choke point is in your finances right now, right? Of course, it's up to you to manage that afterwards, right? You have to manage that afterwards, and you have to be responsible around that. But I'm having success, not a lot, by the way. I'm doing 2 cash out refis this month, right, for the record. But still, that's 2 extra loans that I got this month, taking people out of sub 3.5% interest rates, right? Because they had a big IRS debt. They had a bunch of credit card debt. They went and bought an RV for some reason. I don't know why they do these things, but they did, right? But the payment savings is $3,300 a month. So eliminating any type of fear and just showing people and then challenging them. I've said this many times too, like challenging them. That's the 10% thing. Hey, well, if I told you, if I gave you 10 or 20%, but your payments were 0, would you do it? Yes. Okay. Well, this is the same thing. Like making them understand that you're not giving up one thing for the other. What you're doing is putting yourself in a better situation, because the reality is you are paying $13,454 a month, right? So excellent job, home run on this one as well.
And I think these ones, for me, this is not empathy, this is sympathy. I have been here and I know what that pressure feels like, and I don't want anyone to ever feel it again. And if I can help someone feel better, then that's something I want to do. So I'm going to start running ads using this strategy, and that's why I wanted to get this done. So thank you, Dave, for forcing me.
Love it.
All right. So this is actually number 7 we're on here now. So last but not least, as we get into a multiple offer world, yet again, it's going to feel like 2021 for every single buyer because there's no inventory, because everyone's sitting at 3.25%. Here's how I show people how to look at their offer price. So if I said, I want you to pay $25,000 more than their ask price, and it's not their ask, it's their list price. We have to differentiate those two things. But I need you to pay $25,000 more to win the house. There's no way in hell I'm doing that. This house isn't worth an extra 25 grand. Okay, fair enough. Is it worth losing the house over $167 a month? Well, no, that's like one expensive dinner. Is it worth losing the house over $2,500 out of pocket? No. Okay, cool. We can bump up $2,500 in price. What we're looking at here is not what does the house cost, but what is the house going to cost you? Because again, you're not paying cash. The bank is putting up the majority of the money. We just have to figure out how much it's going to cost you, because your mortgage partner is putting up all of the money and saying you can keep all the appreciation over time. So I do $25,000 brackets. So it's very easy for them to gauge. And if it's nimble, we got to move super quick. It's super competitive. Realtor has access to this, of course. They can go, look, for every $25,000, your payment goes up $160 a month and an extra $2,500 out of pocket. Like, let's go get this house. And this works. This is how you build confidence instead of fear.
Love it. So this was another one of my takeaways, by the way, from Friday, was that it's $167 a month. That's one dinner out a month, right? That's what Sean said on Friday. This is $167 a month. That's one nice dinner out, like, per month. And someone's like, oh yeah, I can like not eat out at the country club for like one night a week, or by the way, $100 Applebee's. Okay. Like, it doesn't even matter where you eat anymore. Mary's Pizza Shack, you're spending $120. Like, it's just the way it is. So putting it, once again, psychology, 4th grade math, psychology. Hey, this is a dinner out, right? Math, it's $167 a month. Would you be upset for missing out on the house that you want for $167 a month? The answer is almost always going to be no. So with that said, Dave, I know that we're over. Is it all right if I share something here real quick that I would love to point out to people?
Heck yeah. And before you do, I want everyone listening to this, what are your 6 speed to needs that you're going to become a master of? A 9. Be thinking of those. If you want to share those online, share those online. Jeremy and Sean, I'm going to both want you to, like, what is the full list that we want to train this community on? And Jeremy, what's the full list you want to train your team on? So it sounds like you're going to share one of those right now. Let's go.
Yep. So here is one that I did yesterday that is very similar to one of the things that Sean was talking about. So let's see. I'm not used to doing this on here. Tell me if you can see mine.
We got you.
Can you see this? All right, cool.
Yeah, we see red TC.
Great. So I'm using a different computer. Sorry, guys. So on this here, this was a scenario where someone wanted to make an offer yesterday. They found, oh my God, I really love this house, but it's literally at the very top of what I would want to pay, and it's going to go over for sure. Okay. And by the way, this person has a 20 DTI, guys. Okay. I like that. That is
Yes.
like, this is my favorite type of client on the planet. I'm not trying to talk them into buying $1.5 million, but they know where they want to be, but you do have some wiggle room here. So what I did was a rent to own, right? And I showed that, hey, your rent's $38.50 a month. Here's what 15% down is at the list price, full price, which we know is not going to get accepted, right? With 15% down. And they want their payments, by the way, to be under $4,500 a month. Okay. So it's 53. Oh, that's higher. I did Sean's little tricky on the California tax write-off only. Thank you, Sean. Right. And then I went ahead and I showed the principal paid, retirement in the video, savings, net payment under the 4,500. They're like, oh, that's great, but it's going to go over. Well, hey, if we think it's going to go over, what if I showed you how you could make an $850 purchase price with a 2-1 buy down, right? Asking for a $19K credit. So it's 30 grand over, essentially 31,000 over to the seller. And what that does is that it allows that individual, right, to have a 4.5% interest rate in the first year, 4762 gross payment, by the way. I didn't even have to get into the net payment of 3405. I just stuck with the gross payment. We're already there, you know, basically there. And then I showed them in the year 2, right? Like what that looks like for them from a payment standpoint, if it were to go up. So it gave this person confidence, right, to go ahead and write an offer 50,000 higher than what they said their max was. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it, but it means that I have a great opportunity and someone was stoked to see this. Right now, the second thing, and this is a strategy that I'm hammering right now, this presentation here, if you can see, is based on a property, not on a client. So I worked an open house this weekend. We captured 26 names, emails, legit. It verifies them through this app that the Realtor uses. And all I did was send out this in a video to all 21 people, right? That sent it with like, hey, I don't know your situation. Of course, it was great to meet you. I just wanted to show you if you were to purchase this home or make an offer at 20%, 30%, or 50% down, what monthly payments look like, right? Here's what's cool. I got an appointment last night with Carrie Ann, one of the people I sent it to, who is an all cash purchase, but it's contingent. She doesn't even need a loan, but she's selling her house right now, right? Well, guess what I had to have? I got to have a conversation with this person about how to bridge the gap. You have a good income. You own your current house free and clear. We could literally take 900 grand out of that current house and then put 900 grand down on this next house. You qualify carrying both, and now you can make a non-contingent offer. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't send this to all the leads that came in on this property. So don't just think about individual clients. I'm trying to use this as one-to-many a little bit more as well. And it's a strategy that I think we could all do a better job of.
And just to piggyback before we get cut off,
That's all good.
if you do broker tour, do exactly what Jeremy just showed. Everyone leaves their business card on the table. Broker tour ends. You send a video to all those agents. Hey, everyone, it was nice meeting you today. Here's options for your clients. Same thing.
Yes.
Guys, we could go for hours on this, and we're going to go more. Like, this is day 1 of a 30-day challenge that I am looking for stories like this. I'm looking for more loan officers to interview. I'm going to try to get Jeremy on to do a debrief as often as he can do it. I want to remind folks, because I want you guys to all be thinking about not only today, like, guys, we need loans now. These are some slides from my Advice Revolution keynote that I gave, but guys, one of the hottest loan now strategies, and I know this because I have all the data at Sales Boomerang, it's like people have more debt than they've ever had in America, and it's more expensive than it's ever been because rates are high. They have more equity than they've ever had in America. And, you know, Sean showed you one way that he's getting loans now through debt consol. Jeremy showed you how he's turning a borrower into a non-contingent borrower because they have equity. And I know from the data that everybody on this call, if you have hundreds or thousands of clients in your database, we do cash out trigger alerts. And we not only go from a cash out alert to an automated TCA, like we know a lot of people are selling these homes and coming back into the market. And I also want to remind everybody, until rates start coming down, and when they get to 5.5 or in the fives, you're going to have hundreds of refis, and we're automating a total cost analysis. And if they get down to 4.5, you're going to have a lot. So right now is the time, like the salmon aren't running. From a bear perspective, you should be good activities, building your skills, because this is a mindset, skill, activity market. And the only way you're going to have a good mindset is if you're building your skills, if you're getting better, if you're using this time in the market to become a Jedi master like Sean and Jeremy. So hopefully everybody got a lot of value from this call. Do either one of you have any closing thoughts you want to share before we wrap it up?
Sean?
This is awesome. It's good because I haven't seen Jeremy in a really long time. And it just, again, I sit in my little cave by myself. It's so fun to just get this. Like we could go for hours. Like this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
We'll think of some more strategies like this, Sean. And like I said, for the next 30 days, I've got my scheduled shows on Tuesdays and Fridays, but I'll also do one-off sales training calls. So let's make sure we get all the lessons out of you. Jeremy, closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts for me is go listen to Sean's Friday mastermind call that he did this last Friday. Like I said, I haven't listened to too many things 3 times in 24 hours. It was really that good. So thank you, Sean. Like it helped me. You saw, and the second thing is do what I did. I listened. I don't know if you guys caught it. I figured out how to do what he said. I went in and I changed the tax benefit on my TCA yesterday learn and execute. Don't learn and think. Learn and execute. Just learn it and go, oh, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do that. So just implement some of these things and think about what your 6 biggest issues are so that you can overcome them and we can help you overcome them through trainings like these. So don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to lead. And Roger, I'm going to answer this question for you. He works for me in the chat. He's like, what are you worried about the EPO? I have told you this 5,000 times, Roger. Okay, charge 3 points, discount points. Your EPO, I tell the clients, it costs this because we know it's going to pay off. Your EPO is almost non-existent if you charge 3 points. Okay, just so you know. And if you have questions about it, come see me in the office. It's totally all good. I don't care about the EPO anyway. I'm getting the purchase loan. Even if they EPO'd it, it's like to get the purchase loan, right? So I don't think about it that way. I just want to create a solution that someone can execute.
Thinking about EPOs is a scarcity mindset. Don't think about the EPOs. If you get them, you get them. Who cares? Don't be in a scarcity mindset.
So guys, remember to sign up if you have not already signed up for the Savage Insights Mobile Club. I put a link down below. We will be releasing the notes to both Scriptapalooza at some point today, which are going to be incredible sales training. I mean, that was really an amazing educational experience. And we're also going to be releasing the notes to this and driving a 30-day challenge. Sean and Jeremy.
All right, you guys.
This call,
appreciate you all. Thank you guys.
Take care, everybody.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, brothers. Later.